Hello guys, I hope wherever you're watching us from, you're having a great time. This is AfriPost and welcome to today's video. Now, in today's video, I want us to look at something that is very, very important when it comes to relationship between Africa and Latin America, because we've seen many instances where there are those European countries and the colonizers, as we call them, that have tried to ensure that the relationship between Africa and other parts of the world is really dimmed. They don't want Africa to have positive relationships with other continents or other countries. For example, you would realize that one of the countries that US does not want Africa to engage with is China. Another one is Russia. And this is because Russia and China have come up with a strategy to ensure that they topple the US dictatorship that is already seen in almost every aspect of trade and development within African continent. You understand the fact that right now, most countries are coming to Africa with an aim of ensuring that they develop good partnerships. And that is why most people have come up with this idea of BRICS, where new world order is created and new strategies of engagement are formed so that every country that has been disenfranchised in the past gets an equal opportunity to really project itself to other countries and have a fair share of trade and development as it should be. Now, in today's video, we are focusing on one Hugo Chavez. This was the former president of Venezuela. His political limelight is something that is worth discussing because he is a person who got to power through, first of all, attempting to have a coup that was unsuccessful for the first time. But after projecting himself as somebody who is able to lead Venezuela, who was at the time grieving from different challenges, he got huge popularity from the people and they thought it is right for him to really lead them. And in this video, Hugo Rafael Chavez is talking about one thing, and this is the link of Latin America and Africa. And one of the things he claims is the fact that he as a person is African and most of Latin Americans are Africans. I want us to watch this video, then react to it at the end. Let's watch.
When we were children, we were told that we have a motherland, and that motherland was Spain. However, we have discovered later in our lives that as a matter of fact, we have several motherlands. And one of the greatest motherlands of all is no doubt Africa. We love Africa. And every day, we are much more aware of the roots we have in Africa. Also, America is our motherland. Africa, America, and Bolivar used to say that we are a new human race in Latin America, that we are not Europeans, nor Africans, or North Americans, that we are a mixture of all those races. And there is no doubt that Africa resounds with a pulse like 1,000 drums, and happiness and joy. But also there's a lot of pain when you think of Africa. Yesterday I met with the president of Mozambique because fully aware of these roots and these realities, we have designed an agenda for Africa in Venezuela. And we have spoken to other South American leaders. Lula, for instance, is fully aware of the African roots of Brazil and South America. And I want to share the African agenda with other leaders in South America. But Venezuela has also its own African agenda. In the case of Mozambique, the life expectancy in Mozambique is 38 years old and going down because AIDS is causing havoc in the population. It's terrible. It's a tragedy. It's 1 million Katrinas hitting this country. The president of Mozambique told me the number of children, orphan children, whose parents have died as a result of AIDS. The The teachers are dying. The doctors are dying. That's a tragedy. And it's a disgrace. And that's why it hurts. It hurts so much to see the UN opening its doors, to listen to speeches, and more speeches, while at the same time, every year, a population equivalent to Argentina today, or Colombia, die of hunger, or Venezuela die of hunger. And those deaths could be avoided. Most of them are children, little girls, little boys, and most of them are in Africa. So, we need like a shaking of the world, to shake up the world. That's why when people talk about my style, that's why the speech I delivered yesterday before the United Nations Assembly, because it doesn't work. It's not working. If we reduced the military expenses in 10% of the world, we would have enough money to save millions of lives in this world. In Venezuela, with the little resources, few resources, we have initiated a program to bring food to feed the poor people in Venezuela. And we are covering today 15 million people in Venezuela receiving this food distribution and assistance. And most of them receive this food for free, and others a percentage. They have to pay only 50% of the total amount for the food they eat. And of course, this is possible only if the people themselves participate, and with a new awareness. Racism is very characteristic of imperialism. Racism is very characteristic of capitalism. Katrina has a lot to do with racism, no doubt about it. Hate against me has a lot to do with racism. Because of my big mouth, because of my curly hair. And I'm so proud to have this mouth and this hair, because it's African. So we need a new morality, a new ethic at this point. And from my Christian point of view, we need a revolution of the ethic. And in the political and economic fields, we need to take back the flag of socialism, in my view, in order to be able to defeat, with the will of the people, with the participation of the people, to beat those ominous phenomena such as racism.
That speech by President Hugo Chavez is really a speech that is worth listening to, because he really identifies himself as African, looks at his head, looks at his lips, looks at the texture of his hair, and he really admits that he believes he has some African heritage that maybe Western people may not like, and that is why most people in those countries feel disenfranchised in one way or the other, because the Western idea is that they have to malign black people and look at them as people who are not good enough. He has also highlighted the fact that Brazil has understood the fact that they have an African heritage, and most of these Latin American countries have African heritage, and this is something that must be cherished and not despised as many people may be pushing for. So I think we must really look into what is happening in Africa. We must look at what is happening in Latin America and understand the fact that we as a people are connected. Many times I've also brought you videos in this channel that have highlighted the fact that black race is also the origin of humanity, because if you look at Africa, many scientists and archaeologists have established that Africa is the cradle of mankind. And it was located first in some parts within Eastern Africa. So this is something that must be appreciated. And the fact that people in different corners of the world are realizing that they have some part of Africanness in them is a very, very important thing. Humanity must respect Africans as they are, and we must also be able to accept each other, regardless of our conditions, regardless of who we are, regardless of where we come from. We must be able to accept ourselves so that we really have a way through which we can work together and develop Africa as a continent. Many things are stacked against us, and the odds are not fair for us, because you will be looked at as a black person and you will not be treated as you should be. But then as African people, we must always be ready to come together, talk about our challenges that we are facing, and really appreciate the fact that we need to be together. And I believe that when we work together and we be together as Africans and as a humanity, we will really achieve a lot. I don't know what you think about this, but if you're watching us for the first time, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like this video, and also share. And also remember to give us your opinion down in the comment section so that we may also understand your perspective about the issue. Thank you, and may the good Lord bless you. Goodbye.